focus your mind right now, because everything in your reality is about to undergo a profound shift. I genuinely deserve to become incredibly rich. I operate as a powerful, undeniable magnet for cash, and absolute prosperity is continuously being pulled directly toward me. Financial resources find their way into my hands through fully anticipated channels, as well as through completely surprising and unforeseen avenues. I am consciously and actively shifting my mindset away from thoughts of scarcity, moving directly into a mentality of total abundance. I fully deserve to generate increasingly larger amounts of cash. I remain entirely open and highly receptive to every single piece of wealth that this existence presents to me. I happily adopt entirely new pathways for generating revenue. I gladly invite a completely boundless stream of income and riches to enter my daily existence, and I purposefully let go of any dark, negative feelings tied to finances. Cash flows into my possession with total ease and practically zero effort. I purposefully utilize these funds to improve the quality of my own existence while also elevating the lives of the people around me. True riches are consistently pouring into my everyday reality. Every single action I take naturally results in an ongoing, steady stream of financial success. I am perfectly in tune with the vibrational energy of absolute plenty. I am continuously drawing in new chances and situations that generate even more cash for me. My personal financial situation is improving in ways that surpass my wildest imagination. Cash serves as a foundational route for deep happiness and wonderful comfort. Financial success and a deep spiritual path can absolutely exist side by side in perfect, peaceful balance. Finances and deep affection can actually operate as close, supportive friends. Wealth acts purely as my helpful servant, and I remain the ultimate, absolute commander of my own riches. I possess the complete capability to manage massive sums of money, and I feel totally tranquil and at peace with possessing so much of it. I can easily navigate enormous victories and achievements with absolute elegance and grace. Having abundant funds actively broadens the horizons and the dynamic adventures I get to experience in my life. Cash produces highly beneficial and positive outcomes in my existence, and I truly deserve to experience a lifestyle of pure wealth. Financial resources reach me through practically magical and miraculous events. This entire planet is abundantly overflowing with an endless supply of absolutely everything. True scarcity simply does not exist. If I ever happen to notice a feeling of shortage in my daily reality, I have the absolute liberty to alter that perception, beginning this very second. I possess the freedom to overwrite my outdated mental programming regarding finances, swapping it out for fresh, much healthier concepts. Wealth exists quite literally in every single corner of the globe. The specific sum of cash I possess does not accurately reflect the amount of grueling labor I put in. Funds can easily arrive from my primary occupation, from my various asset holdings, from presents given to me, and from basically any other direction imaginable. I absolutely do not have to toil for longer hours just to acquire a larger amount of money. I am completely willing to alter my perspective regarding how I receive wealth, and that profound shift begins immediately. I absolutely deserve to experience a life filled to the brim with plenty. I am a fundamental piece of this vast cosmos, and I am entirely open to trusting that this universe is completely limitless and overflowing with abundance. I am fully prepared to accept that I myself am just as infinite and richly supplied as the universe around me. I deeply understand that I was originally formed as an entity made of pure affection, deep optimism, boundless generosity, and ultimate goodness. I know that I act as a direct mirror to the sacred and the divine. There is absolutely no part of my being that is unworthy of receiving wonderful things. I remain entirely open to accepting riches through a wide variety of different methods. In the past, I was instructed that there was only a single, solitary route to acquiring cash and riches during my lifetime. But I now clearly recognize that there are countless different avenues leading directly to wealth and plenty. I am more than happy to walk down multiple different roads in order to multiply the volume of cash flowing into my reality. I am the sole individual who holds the power to control the thoughts occurring inside my own brain right at this moment. I hold the power to select a completely different path than the one I am currently navigating in my life. Even though adopting a completely new way of thinking might initially seem a bit unusual, I absolutely possess the inherent right to do exactly that. The larger the amount I generously hand out, the larger the amount I inevitably take in, and the larger the amount I take in, the larger the amount I can generously hand out. I firmly understand that the grand scale of everything always finds a perfect balance. And because of this truth, I am totally committed to broadcasting positivity out into the surrounding world. By operating in that exact manner, I ensure that pure goodness will inevitably cycle right back into my own existence. Simply because I project a strong signal of generosity out into the world, it does not imply that I will receive a signal demanding that I must sacrifice even more of myself. That is definitively not how this cosmic system functions. When I offer things to others, I am rewarded in return, which subsequently provides me with an even greater number of reasons to continue giving outwardly. It functions as an incredibly gorgeous and tranquil loop that positively affects every single person on this planet. Existence is overflowing with plenty, and I am completely protected and secure. I choose to view this planet as a totally secure and highly advantageous environment to inhabit. Other individuals are perfectly free to perceive this planet as a place entirely consumed by terror and deep scarcity. I, however, deliberately opt to navigate my days according to my own personal conviction. If I consciously decide to center my entire existence around concepts of plenty, deep joy, absolute tranquility, bright optimism, and profound affection, then I will inevitably draw an even greater volume of those exact elements directly into my own reality. I genuinely feel incredibly wealthy. I absolutely adore cash, and cash absolutely adores me back. Right at this very second, I am actively pulling funds toward myself. I feel immensely joyful and deeply appreciative that cash flows toward me in continuously expanding volumes, originating from a multitude of different places, on a completely relentless and non-stop basis. I am currently in the active process of accepting new money. I possess a financial reserve that is far greater than what is strictly necessary. I am fully prepared, highly eager, and entirely capable of taking in new wealth. Everywhere I cast my gaze, I witness absolute abundance. I operate as a literal magnet for cash. I feel a profound sense of gratitude for the resources I already hold in my hands, as well as for the resources that are destined to reach me in the future. I currently possess absolutely everything that I could ever possibly require. Money is currently arriving at my doorstep from completely surprising and unforeseen places, and I am intensely thankful for it. my personal revenue is steadily climbing to increasingly elevated heights. I exist as a wealthy offspring of an incredibly affectionate cosmos, and I wield the absolute capability to draw money toward me. I accept new funds with a deeply joyful spirit right now. Cash streams directly to me with zero friction. I behave in a highly rational manner regarding my finances, and I direct my funds with great intelligence. I permit my personal revenue to grow and widen on a continuous, non-stop basis. I perpetually reside in a state of absolute luxury and deep happiness. I clearly understand that having funds is a critical component for me to experience a high-quality existence. Yet I consciously choose not to elevate it to the single most important element of my entire world. The cosmos acts as my unfailing, non-stop provider of financial resources. I am always equipped with an adequate amount of cash to seamlessly satisfy all of my personal requirements, regardless of what specific tasks or hobbies I happen to be engaging in. The total value held within my financial accounts is scaling upward with every passing sunrise, and I am never left without an ample supply of personal funds. Money and I operate as incredibly close companions. Our strong alliance will remain completely intact and will never shatter. I function as a living magnet for cash, a force toward which wealth is relentlessly and aggressively pulled. With the dawn of every single day, I am actively drawing in and securely storing a larger and larger volume of cash. Wealth represents a fundamental, necessary component of living, and it is never physically or energetically distant from my presence. I live completely liberated from all financial liabilities because cash is relentlessly pouring straight into my world. My personal awareness and deep understanding of money is perpetually expanding, firmly keeping me wrapped in an environment of total wealth. My entire mental focus is locked onto the goal of achieving massive riches. The act of pulling in money is incredibly simple for me. The total monetary value contained inside my bank accounts is perpetually scaling upward. Money is a profoundly positive force. Money operates as pure kinetic energy. I receive absolute, unwavering support in generating wealth simply by participating in the exact activities that I deeply adore doing. Financial resources find their way to me through highly predictable avenues, as well as through completely unpredicted surprise pathways. My personal revenue organically and automatically climbs to higher and higher levels without any forced effort. I keep my arms wide open to receive the absolute finest luxuries that existence has to provide. My personal billfold is practically bursting at the seams with cash. Navigating through life is incredibly effortless and smooth for me. I warmly invite wealth to enter and occupy my existence. I stand completely open and entirely prepared to allow massive funds to enter my world. Cash is a permanent fixture in my reality, and its presence feels just as normal and fundamental as the acts of consuming food, drinking water, and resting my eyes. Every pocket I possess is stuffed full of money. My highly optimistic mental visualizations regarding wealth are currently transforming into absolute reality. The grand universe consistently operates in a manner that supports my ultimate, most beneficial outcomes, and I never fail to acquire exactly what I require from a monetary standpoint. Absolute victory belongs solely to me. I boldly claim it right at this very moment. I absolutely adore the feeling of possessing wealth. There is a massive enough supply of resources to satisfy every single person on Earth. At this current point in time, there is a larger volume of wealth circulating across the globe than at any other moment in recorded history, and there is more than enough cash to perfectly satisfy everyone's needs. I effortlessly draw in the true immense value of my own self-worth. I am continuously evolving into a greater version of myself. I pull in cash in a completely organic, unforced manner. The larger the amount of value I provide to other people, the larger the amount of cash I will inevitably generate. The more deeply I savor and appreciate my own existence, the greater the volume of wealth I will ultimately produce. The overarching cosmos provides an uninterrupted, steady delivery of cash directly to me. I am always equipped with an adequate amount of cash to seamlessly satisfy all of my personal requirements. Money and I operate as incredibly close companions. Wealth is currently streaming directly toward my location. Cash flows seamlessly and completely free of friction into my daily reality. I actively draw money toward myself, and simultaneously, I find myself highly drawn to money. I absolutely adore cash. I genuinely take pleasure in the process of generating revenue, and I make a conscious effort to inject a sense of playfulness and joy into every single facet of my professional endeavors. Regardless of what specific tasks or hobbies I happen to be engaging in, financial resources stream toward me with total ease, on a highly regular basis, and in massively abundant quantities. I wield the absolute, undeniable power to draw wealth toward myself. I enforce absolutely zero restrictions or boundaries on the maximum ceiling of cash that I am capable of generating. I pull in money in a totally organic, natural fashion. The financial accounts in my name are absolutely packed to the brim with I have access to a completely limitless, never-ending stockpile of physical currency. I manage to pull in financial resources no matter what physical location I travel to. This current 24-hour period marks the arrival of my incredibly spectacular and highly favorable destiny. I look on with deep happiness as every single financial invoice is instantly settled and zeroed out. I observe with immense joy as every single promised obligation is swiftly and completely fulfilled right now. I exist as the very embodiment of limitless, radiant prosperity shining brightly out into the world. I completely and warmly welcome all of the massive happiness and intense wealth that this existence has lined up to present to me. Pure financial victory arrives at my doorstep with ultimate ease and requires absolutely zero struggling on my part. My personal revenue vastly outpaces the total sum of my outgoing expenses. My deeply appreciative and thankful spirit acts as a powerful magnetic force that inevitably pulls in an even greater amount of everything I could possibly wish for. I operate as a literal money magnet, and absolutely every variety of success and abundance is relentlessly dragged in my direction. Funds stream toward me from completely anticipated locations, as well as from entirely surprising, unpredicted origins. This current day is an absolutely wonderful and pleasant experience. I harbor absolutely zero anxiety or terror when it comes to releasing my funds out into the world. I distribute my wealth while guided by pure, direct intuition, making highly intelligent choices without a single ounce of dread. My personal stockpile of resources is entirely boundless, and it replenishes itself instantly without delay. The bank accounts tied to my name are practically overflowing and spilling over with cash. A massive, unstoppable landslide of money is currently rushing violently in my direction. I am blissfully and happily partaking in a daily routine defined by absolute high-end luxury. I currently reside inside an incredibly wealthy and deeply affectionate cosmic system. This universe is spectacularly wealthy, and it holds an enormous bounty of resources that is more than sufficient to cover all of us. I am right now in the active process of gathering up tremendously massive piles of cash. Financial resources are heavily streaming into my everyday life. I consistently experience a dynamic where the volume of cash entering my accounts is vastly superior to the volume of cash exiting them. I am transforming into a stronger and stronger magnet for wealth with every passing moment. I physically manifest cash through the sheer power of pure happiness, deep vitality, and intense personal affection for myself. Because I spend my time engaging in exactly what I am passionate about, money streams toward me without any blockages. Cash arrives in my hands with total ease and practically zero effort. The funds I place into storage actually function as a magnetic core, specifically designed to drag in an even larger sum of wealth. Every single dollar I release into the economy actively improves the surrounding community, and it inevitably circles right back into my possession, multiplied many times over. Every single dollar that I release, as well as every single dollar I generate, fills me with a profound sense of happiness. My personal wealth is essentially pure kinetic energy, standing by and eagerly waiting for my direct orders to manifest highly beneficial outcomes in my world. Every last cent of my wealth is actively laboring on my behalf to amplify the total volume of my prosperity, my joy, and my vibrant energy. Wealth streams without restriction and in massive quantities throughout my daily existence. An uninterrupted, reliable current of cash is traveling toward my location, originating from totally familiar avenues, as well as completely anonymous, hidden origins. I hold a deeply positive internal perspective regarding wealth, and I fully believe that I am completely deserving of having it in my reality. I feel immensely appreciative of the deep comfort and profound joy that this wealth actively supplies to me. I consciously let go of every single pessimistic or limiting belief I have ever held regarding finances, and I warmly welcome ultimate riches to enter my world. Cash flows into my possession with total ease and practically zero effort. The act of generating revenue is a highly positive endeavor for my own well-being, as well as for every single individual who is connected to my life. The total sum of my wealth is climbing to higher and higher peaks at this exact moment. Wealth represents a highly significant component of my reality, and it is never physically or energetically distant from my presence. I possess the clarity to easily identify new avenues and chances that allow me to generate revenue without breaking a sweat. I clearly and easily recognize new opportunities to seamlessly and effortlessly build my wealth. Funds always manage to navigate toward me with ultimate smoothness. I operate as a powerful magnet that pulls in cash, and simultaneously, cash acts as a powerful magnet that pulls itself toward me. Wealth streams without any resistance directly into my daily life. Every single cent that I require is actively traveling toward my location. Every single cent that I could possibly ever desire is actively flowing into my hands right at this very moment. I am always equipped with a fully adequate amount of cash. I possess all of the necessary funds, the required hours, the deep skills, and the vital energy needed to successfully complete absolutely everything I set out to do. Wealth is arriving at my doorstep with every single sunrise. Money is currently rushing toward me in spectacular volumes, and arriving through absolutely flawless, perfect methods. The larger the amount of cash I hold in my possession, the larger the amount of cash I can deploy to assist my own journey and to elevate the lives of other people. The greater the sum of wealth I hold, the greater the sum of wealth I have available to generously distribute. Wealth is perpetually moving and cycling without restriction throughout my existence, and there is absolutely always a massive remainder left over. Financial resources pour down over me in a rush, exactly like a towering waterfall. I gladly and openly welcome absolutely every physical item and experience that cash is capable of purchasing. Every single financial invoice I receive is instantly handled and completely cleared with spectacular smoothness. I possess a blazing, intense passion for the process of constructing massive riches. I offer deep, profound gratitude for the fact that I am currently existing as an incredibly rich, highly wealthy, and tremendously happy individual. I wield the absolute, undeniable power to draw massive prosperity toward myself. I accept new funds and enormous riches through highly unusual, totally unique channels. Any internal friction or hesitation I previously harbored against accepting a larger volume of wealth has completely melted away in a state of absolute tranquil grace. Prosperity and cash arrive in my world with total ease and practically zero effort. I am actively constructing physical wealth, profound prosperity, intense joy, and deep happiness within my everyday reality. I am rapidly transforming into a stronger and vastly more powerful magnetic force that relentlessly pulls in both cash and ultimate riches. Every single dollar I will ever require is already stationed and patiently waiting to make its way directly into my hands. Wealth is quite literally pure energy, and it is currently rushing freely and seamlessly straight through my being. Every single internal barrier or wall that was preventing me from taking in new cash has now been completely shattered and dissolved. Absolutely all the required tools and resources I need to construct massive riches are fully accessible to me at this exact second. I am incredibly wealthy right at this very moment. I am an intensely ambitious individual, and I am spectacularly driven to achieve pure victory. I am completely, utterly committed to expanding the size of my personal fortune. I am walking firmly upon the direct highway that leads straight to boundless plenty. I possess the inherent, absolute capability to generate staggeringly massive piles of cash. I am already existing as an incredibly rich individual. The entirety of my mental processing power is fiercely locked onto the target of acquiring legendary levels of prosperity. I possess an indestructible, shatterproof level of pure confidence in my own self. I am right now beginning the process of seamlessly and effortlessly dragging wealth into my reality. The sheer level of trust and belief I hold in my own capabilities is steadily escalating, growing more dominant and more powerful by the second. I am destined to achieve massive victory, regardless of the required sacrifices or costs. I am guaranteed to become incredibly rich and wildly successful, no matter what obstacles appear in my way. I am aggressively and intensely locked on to the objective of generating massive amounts of money. I am in a constant state of evolution, forever morphing into an individual who constructs massive wealth without breaking a sweat. I carry myself with the exact mental posture and attitude of a spectacularly rich and highly victorious human being. I naturally and organically draw cash directly toward my location. The process of generating revenue is incredibly simple and highly straightforward for me. Experiencing massive prosperity and high-level victory is simply a standard, entirely normal occurrence in my life. When other people look at me, they immediately recognize me as an individual who just naturally and effortlessly pulls wealth into their orbit. I genuinely take intense pleasure in the act of making money. Experiencing absolute financial plenty is just a regular, standard component of my everyday existence. I harbor a profound, unshakable belief that I am a highly victorious and successful human being. I maintain a staggering, enormous level of pure confidence in my own self, as well as in my absolute ability to generate massive amounts of money. I completely deserve to step into a life of vast riches. I function as a powerful attractor for cash, and all forms of prosperity are naturally pulled in my direction. Financial resources find their way to my doorstep through paths that I fully anticipate, as well as through avenues that catch me completely by surprise. I am actively transitioning my mindset away from a mentality of scarcity and stepping firmly into a consciousness defined by absolute plenty. I truly merit the ability to generate an increasing amount of wealth. I remain entirely open and highly willing to receive all of the financial blessings that existence presents to me. I eagerly adopt fresh methods for generating revenue. I gladly invite an absolutely boundless stream of income and profound riches to take up residence in my daily reality, and I consciously let go of any dark, restrictive feelings associated with cash. Funds flow into my possession with ultimate smoothness and practically zero friction. I intentionally utilize this wealth to elevate the quality of my own existence, while simultaneously improving the lives of the people who surround me. True prosperity is consistently pouring directly into my everyday world. Every single action I undertake naturally results in a continuous, steady stream of financial victory. I am perfectly synchronized with the vibrational frequency of total abundance. I am perpetually drawing in new chances and unique situations that generate even more cash on my behalf. My personal financial landscape is upgrading in ways that completely exceed my wildest expectations. Cash serves as a foundational source for profound joy and wonderful physical comfort. Absolute wealth and a deep spiritual connection can absolutely exist side by side in perfect, tranquil harmony. Finances and deep affection can actually operate as close, mutually supportive allies. Money acts purely as my dedicated servant, and I firmly remain the ultimate, supreme commander over my own personal fortune. I possess the complete mental and emotional capacity to manage massive piles of cash, and I feel totally tranquil and secure with holding so much of it. I can easily navigate enormous levels of victory and high-scale achievement with absolute elegance. Having abundant funds actively widens the scope of my daily horizons and the dynamic experiences I get to enjoy. Cash produces highly beneficial, uplifting impacts across my entire existence, and I truly deserve to live a lifestyle defined by pure wealth. Financial resources reach me through practically miraculous, awe-inspiring events. This entire physical world is abundantly overflowing with an endless supply of absolutely everything you could imagine. True limitation simply does not exist in reality. If I ever happen to notice a feeling of shortage in my daily world, I hold the absolute freedom to alter that perception beginning this exact second. I possess the total liberty to overwrite my outdated, restrictive mental programming regarding finances, completely swapping it out for fresh, substantially healthier beliefs. Wealth exists quite literally in every single corner of this vast globe. The specific sum of cash I possess is not a direct reflection of the amount of grueling, back-breaking labor I endure. Funds can easily materialize from my primary career, from my various asset holdings, from generous presents given to me, and from basically any other direction conceivable. I absolutely do not have to grind or toil for extended hours just to acquire a larger amount of wealth. I am completely willing to alter my internal perspective regarding how I take in money, and that profound mental shift commences right now. I absolutely deserve to experience a life heavily saturated with plenty. I am a fundamental, interconnected piece of this vast cosmos, and I am entirely open to trusting that this universe is completely limitless and overflowing with boundless resources. I am fully prepared to accept the reality that I myself am just as infinite and richly supplied as the sprawling universe that surrounds me. I deeply recognize that I was originally formed as an entity constructed out of pure affection, deep optimism, boundless generosity, and ultimate goodness. I firmly know that I act as a direct, living mirror, reflecting the sacred and the divine. There is absolutely no fragment of my being that is unworthy of receiving wonderful, magnificent things. I remain entirely open to accepting profound riches through a wide array of different strategies and methods. In previous times, I was instructed that there was only a single, isolated route to acquiring cash and wealth during my time on Earth, but I now clearly recognize that there are practically infinite pathways leading straight to total abundance. I am more than happy to walk down several different roads in order to multiply the volume of cash flowing into my current reality. I am the solitary individual who holds the power to direct the thoughts occurring inside my own brain right at this given moment. I hold the power to consciously select a completely different trajectory than the one I am presently navigating in my life. Even though adopting a completely new paradigm of thinking might initially feel a bit foreign or unusual, I absolutely possess the inherent birthright entitlement to do exactly that. The larger the amount I generously offer to the world, the larger the amount I inevitably pull back in. And the larger the amount I take in, the larger the amount I am capable of generously handing out. I deeply comprehend that the grand scale of reality always finds a perfect equilibrium. And because of this core truth, I am totally committed to broadcasting pure positivity out into the surrounding environment. By operating in that specific, highly conscious manner, I guarantee that ultimate goodness will inevitably cycle right back into my own private world, simply because I project a strong, undeniable signal of generosity out into the ether. It does not imply that I will receive a harsh signal demanding that I must sacrifice even more of my own energy. That is definitively not how this cosmic machinery operates. When I freely offer things to others, I am generously rewarded in return, which subsequently provides me with an even greater multitude of reasons to continue projecting outward generosity. It functions as an incredibly gorgeous, highly tranquil loop that positively elevates every single person occupying this planet. Existence is absolutely overflowing with plenty, and I remain completely protected, sheltered, and secure. I deliberately choose to view this globe as a totally safe, highly advantageous, and supportive environment to inhabit. Other individuals are perfectly free to perceive this planet as a dark place entirely consumed by terror and deep scarcity. I, however, deliberately and consciously opt to navigate my days according to my own personal, highly positive convictions. If I consciously decide to center my entire living experience around concepts of grand plenty, deep joy, absolute tranquility, bright cheerfulness, and profound affection, then I will inevitably draw a significantly larger volume of those exact elements directly into my own waking reality. I genuinely feel incredibly wealthy deep within my bones. I absolutely adore cash, and cash absolutely adores me in return. Right at this very second, I am actively dragging funds toward myself like a high-powered magnet. I feel immensely joyful and deeply appreciative of the absolute fact that cash flows toward me in continuously expanding volumes, originating from a multitude of different places, on a completely relentless, non-stop schedule. I am currently in the active, conscious process of accepting new money. I possess a financial reserve that is far, far greater than what is strictly required to survive. I am fully prepared, highly eager, and entirely capable of taking in vast new sums of wealth. Everywhere I happen to cast my gaze, I bear witness to absolute, undeniable abundance. I operate as a literal, walking magnet for physical cash. I feel a profound sense of gratitude for the resources I already hold securely in my hands, as well as for the future resources that are absolutely destined to reach me. And I currently possess absolutely everything that I could ever possibly require. Money is currently arriving at my doorstep from completely surprising, unforeseen directions. And I am intensely and deeply thankful for this occurrence. My personal stream of revenue is steadily climbing to increasingly elevated heights with every passing day. I exist as a wealthy, highly cherished offspring of an incredibly affectionate cosmos, and I wield the absolute capability and power to draw massive money toward my location. I accept new funds with a deeply joyful, enthusiastic spirit right now. Cash streams directly to me with total ease and zero friction. I behave in a highly rational, thoughtful manner regarding my finances, and I actively direct my funds with great wisdom. I eagerly permit my personal revenue to grow, stretch, and widen on a continuous, uninterrupted basis. I perpetually reside in a sustained state of absolute physical comfort and deep inner joy. I clearly understand that having abundant funds is a critical, highly necessary component for me to experience a high-quality existence. Yet I consciously choose not to elevate it to the single most important, dominating element of my entire world. The surrounding universe acts as my unfailing, non-stop, ever-flowing provider of financial resources. I am always perfectly equipped with an adequate amount of cash to seamlessly satisfy all of my personal requirements, regardless of what specific tasks, projects, or hobbies I happen to be engaging in on any given day. The total numerical value held securely within my banking accounts is scaling upward with every passing sunrise, and I am never left without an ample, heavy supply of personal funds. Money and I operate as incredibly close, lifelong companions. Our strong, unbreakable alliance will remain completely intact and will absolutely never shatter or fall apart. I function as an incredibly potent magnet for cash, an irresistible force toward which wealth is relentlessly, aggressively pulled without pause. With the dawn of every single day, I am actively drawing in, securely storing, and multiplying a larger and larger volume of pure cash. Wealth represents a fundamental, highly integral component of living, and it is absolutely never physically or energetically distant from my immediate presence. I live completely liberated from the heavy chains of financial debt because cash is relentlessly, beautifully pouring straight into my personal world. My deeply cultivated personal awareness and understanding of money is perpetually expanding, firmly keeping me wrapped in a luxurious environment of total wealth. My entire mental focus is securely locked onto the ultimate goal of achieving massive riches. The act of successfully pulling in money is incredibly simple and highly natural for me. The total monetary worth contained inside my bank accounts is perpetually scaling upward in a beautiful trajectory. Money is a profoundly positive, highly beneficial. Money operates as pure, unadulterated kinetic energy. I receive absolute, unwavering cosmic support in generating massive wealth simply by participating in the exact creative activities that I deeply adore doing. Financial resources find their way to me through highly predictable, expected avenues, as well as through completely unpredicted, exciting surprise pathways. My personal flow of income organically and automatically climbs to higher and higher levels without requiring any forced, agonizing effort on my part. I keep my arms spread wide open to receive the absolute finest luxuries and top-tier experiences that existence has to provide. My personal billfold is practically bursting at the seams, violently overflowing with thick stacks of cash. Navigating through the events of daily life is incredibly effortless and incredibly smooth for me. I warmly and excitedly invite vast wealth to enter and permanently occupy my existence. I stand completely open, entirely prepared, and fully ready to allow massive funds to enter my private world. Cash is a permanent, reliable fixture in my reality, and its presence feels just as normal, natural, and fundamental to me as the daily acts of consuming food, drinking water, and resting my eyes. Every single pocket I possess is heavily stuffed full of physical money. My highly optimistic, deeply positive mental visualizations regarding wealth are currently transforming into absolute, undeniable reality. The grand universe consistently operates in a manner that exclusively serves my ultimate, most beneficial outcomes, and I absolutely never fail to acquire exactly what I require from a monetary and financial standpoint. Absolute victory belongs solely to me. I boldly and aggressively claim it as my own right at this very moment. I absolutely adore the sensational feeling of possessing massive wealth. There is a massively huge supply of resources on this planet, more than enough to perfectly satisfy every single person on Earth. At this current point in human time, there is a vastly larger volume of physical and digital wealth circulating across the globe than at any other moment in recorded history. And there is more than enough cash to perfectly satisfy everyone's deepest needs. I effortlessly and magnetically draw in the true, immense value of my own deep self-worth. I am continuously, relentlessly evolving into a vastly greater version of myself. I pull in staggering amounts of cash in a completely organic, entirely unforced manner. The larger the amount of true value I provide to elevate other people, the larger the amount of cash I will inevitably generate for myself. The more deeply I savor, enjoy, and appreciate my own brief existence, the greater the volume of wealth I will ultimately produce. The overarching grand cosmos provides an uninterrupted, relentlessly steady delivery of cash directly to my location. I am absolutely always equipped with an adequate, overflowing amount of cash to seamlessly satisfy all of my personal and professional requirements. Money and I operate as incredibly close, intimately bonded companions. Wealth is currently streaming directly toward my physical location at a rapid pace. Cash flows seamlessly, beautifully, and completely free of friction into my daily reality. I actively, powerfully draw money toward myself, and simultaneously, I find myself highly, magnetically drawn to money. I absolutely adore and cherish cash. I genuinely take immense pleasure in the active process of generating revenue, and I make a conscious, dedicated effort to inject a deep sense of playfulness and intense fun into every single facet of my professional endeavors. Regardless of what specific tasks, hobbies, or projects I happen to be engaging in, financial resources stream toward me with total, undeniable ease on a highly regular basis and in massively abundant, almost shocking quantities. I wield the absolute, undeniable, cosmic power to draw massive wealth directly toward myself. I strictly enforce absolutely zero restrictions, limits, or boundaries on the maximum ceiling of cash that I am capable of generating. I pull in staggering amounts of money in a totally organic, highly natural fashion. The financial accounts stationed in my name are absolutely packed to the brim, practically exploding with wealth. I have direct, unfettered access to a completely limitless, never-ending stockpile of physical currency. I successfully manage to pull in vast financial resources no matter what physical geographic location I travel to across the globe. This current 24-hour period marks the definitive arrival of my incredibly spectacular and highly favorable grand destiny. I look on with deep, profound happiness as every single financial invoice and bill I hold is instantly settled and zeroed out with ease. I observe with immense joy and profound relief as every single promised financial obligation is swiftly, fully, and completely fulfilled right now, at this exact moment. I exist as the very physical embodiment of limitless, radiant prosperity, shining brightly out into the surrounding world. I completely, openly, and warmly welcome all of the massive happiness and intense, staggering wealth that this reality has lined up to generously present to me. Pure financial victory and ultimate success arrives at my doorstep with ultimate ease and requires absolutely zero struggling, agonizing, or suffering on my part. My personal streams of revenue vastly and dramatically outpace the total sum of my outgoing living expenses. My deeply appreciative, highly thankful spirit acts as an immensely powerful magnetic force that inevitably pulls in an even greater amount of absolutely everything I could possibly wish for or deeply desire. I operate as a literal, high-powered money magnet, and absolutely every single variety of grand success and sweeping abundance is relentlessly dragged in my exact direction. Funds stream toward me at a rapid pace from completely anticipated, obvious locations, as well as from entirely surprising, highly unpredicted origin. This current day is an absolutely wonderful, thoroughly delightful, and highly pleasant experience. I harbor absolutely zero anxiety, hesitation, or terror when it comes to confidently releasing my funds out into the economy. I confidently distribute my wealth while being guided by pure, direct inner intuition, making highly intelligent financial choices without a single ounce of dread or fear. My personal, private stockpile of resources is entirely boundless entirely infinite, and it replenishes itself instantly without a single moment of delay. The primary bank accounts tied securely to my name are practically overflowing and violently spilling over with vast sums of cash. A massive, totally unstoppable avalanche of pure money is currently rushing violently and beautifully in my specific direction. I am blissfully, happily, and freely partaking in a daily routine utterly defined by absolute high-end luxury. I currently reside inside an incredibly wealthy, deeply affectionate, and highly supportive cosmic system. This universe is spectacularly rich, and it holds an enormous, sprawling bounty of resources that is vastly more than sufficient to thoroughly cover all of us. I am right now, at this exact moment, in the hyper-focused process of gathering up tremendously massive piles of physical and digital cash. Vast financial resources are heavily streaming, pouring, and flooding directly into my everyday life. I consistently and reliably experience a dynamic where the sheer volume of cash rapidly entering my accounts is vastly superior to the volume of cash slowly exiting them. I am rapidly transforming into a vastly stronger and vastly more powerful magnet for wealth with every single passing moment. I physically manifest and conjure cash through the sheer, unadulterated power of pure joy, deep vitality, and intense personal affection for my own being. Because I spend my precious time engaging exactly in what I am intensely passionate about, money streams toward me completely free of any blockages. Cash arrives securely in my hands with total ease, absolute grace, and practically zero grueling effort. The specific funds I carefully place into storage actually function as a powerful magnetic core, specifically and perfectly designed to aggressively drag in an even larger sum of new wealth. Every single dollar I confidently release into the surrounding economy actively enriches and improves the broader society, and it inevitably, undoubtedly, circles right back into my personal possession, miraculously multiplied many times over. Every single physical dollar that I spend and release, as well as every single physical dollar I generate and earn, fills my spirit with a profound sense of utter joy. My personal accumulated wealth is essentially pure, vibrating kinetic energy, standing by at full attention and eagerly awaiting my direct, specific commands to actively create highly beneficial outcomes in my waking reality. Every last cent of my accumulated fortune is actively, aggressively laboring on my behalf around the clock to permanently amplify the total volume of my massive prosperity, my deep inner joy, and my vibrant, radiant aliveness. Staggering wealth streams without any form of restriction and in totally massive, overwhelming quantities throughout the entirety of my daily existence. An uninterrupted, completely reliable, heavy current of cash is rapidly traveling toward my location right now, originating from totally familiar, established avenues, as well as completely anonymous, hidden, unknown origins. I hold a deeply positive, completely unshakable internal perspective regarding wealth, and I fully, undeniably believe that I am completely deserving of holding it in my reality. I feel immensely, profoundly appreciative of the deep, luxurious comfort and profound, soothing joy that this wealth actively supplies to my life. I purposefully and consciously let go of every single pessimistic, highly limiting, or destructive belief I have ever held in my mind regarding finances, and I warmly, openly welcome ultimate, vast riches to permanently enter my personal world. Experiencing massive, sweeping prosperity and high-level victory is simply a standard, entirely normal occurrence in my life. It serves as the baseline of my existence, a natural law that governs my every waking moment. When other people look at me, they immediately and instinctively recognize me as an individual who just naturally and effortlessly pulls wealth directly into their orbit. I genuinely and deeply take immense pleasure in the active process of making money. Experiencing absolute financial plenty and overflowing abundance is just a regular, standard component of my everyday reality. I harbor a profound, completely unshakable internal belief that I am a highly victorious and enormously successful human being. I maintain a staggering, incredibly massive level of pure confidence in my own self, as well as in my absolute, unquestionable ability to generate huge sums of money. I completely and genuinely deserve to step into a reality defined by vast riches. I function as a highly powerful, inescapable attractor for cash, and all beautiful forms of prosperity are naturally and magnetically pulled in my exact direction. Financial resources and physical currency find their way to my doorstep through paths that I fully anticipate and plan for, as well as through exciting avenues that catch me completely by surprise. I am actively, consciously transitioning my entire mindset away from a dark mentality of poverty and scarcity, stepping firmly and permanently into a bright consciousness defined by absolute, overflowing abundance. I truly and unquestionably merit the ability to generate an ever-increasing amount of wealth in my life. I remain entirely open, unguarded, and highly willing to receive all of the spectacular financial blessings that this existence chooses to present to me. I eagerly and joyfully adopt fresh, innovative methods and avenues for generating personal revenue. I gladly and enthusiastically invite an absolutely boundless, infinite stream of daily income and profound riches to take up permanent residence in my daily reality. And I consciously, forcefully let go of any dark, restrictive, or negative energy associated with cash. Funds continuously flow into my personal possession with ultimate smoothness, total ease, and practically zero friction. I intentionally and thoughtfully utilize this abundant wealth to drastically elevate the quality of my own daily existence, while simultaneously improving and uplifting the lives of the people who surround me. True, undeniable prosperity is consistently and reliably pouring directly into my everyday world without pause. Every single action I undertake and every decision I make naturally results in a continuous, steady stream of financial victory and prosperity. I am perfectly, flawlessly synchronized with the vibrating energy frequency of total, absolute abundance. I am perpetually, continuously drawing in fresh chances, new opportunities, and unique situations that are designed to generate even more cash on my behalf. My personal financial landscape is upgrading and improving in spectacular ways that completely exceed my wildest, most ambitious dreams. Cash serves as a foundational, deeply rooted source for profound joy and wonderful, soothing physical comfort. Absolute financial wealth and a deep, grounded spiritual connection can absolutely exist side by side in perfect, tranquil, and beautiful harmony. Finances and deep personal affection can actually operate as close, mutually supportive allies and friendly companions. Money acts purely as my dedicated, loyal servant, and I firmly remain the ultimate, supreme, and unquestioned master over my own personal fortune. I possess the complete mental, emotional, and practical capacity to safely handle massive, staggering sums of money, and I feel totally tranquil, secure, and at peace with holding on to so much of it. I can easily and comfortably navigate enormous levels of victory and high-scale success with absolute elegance and undeniable grace. Having abundant funds actively widens the scope of my daily horizons, massively expanding the dynamic opportunities and rich experiences I get to enjoy during my lifetime. Cash produces highly beneficial, overwhelmingly positive impacts across my entire existence, and I truly, deeply deserve to live a lifestyle perfectly defined by pure wealth. Financial resources reliably reach my hands through practically miraculous, awe-inspiring, and seemingly magical events. This entire physical world is abundantly and spectacularly overflowing with an endless, staggering supply of absolutely everything you could possibly imagine. True, foundational limitation and lack simply do not exist in the grand architecture of reality. If I ever happen to notice a fleeting feeling of shortage or lack in my daily world, I hold the absolute, sovereign freedom to alter that perception completely, beginning this exact second. I possess the total, undeniable liberty to completely overwrite my outdated, restrictive mental programming regarding finances, swapping it out entirely for fresh, substantially healthier, and wildly supportive beliefs. Wealth exists quite literally in every single corner, city, and environment across this vast globe. The specific sum of cash I personally possess is not a direct, linear reflection of the amount of grueling, back-breaking labor I must endure. Funds can easily and frequently materialize from my primary career and job, from my various calculated investments, from generous gifts given directly to me, and from basically any other direction or origin conceivable. I absolutely and fundamentally do not have to grind or toil for extended, exhausting hours just to successfully acquire a larger amount of wealth. I am completely, entirely willing to alter my internal foundational perspective regarding how I take in and receive money. And that profound mental shift officially commences right now. I absolutely and without question deserve to experience a life heavily saturated with pure abundance. I am a fundamental, intimately interconnected piece of this vast cosmos, and I am entirely open to trusting and fully believing that this universe is completely limitless, expansive, and overflowing with boundless resources. I am fully prepared and completely willing to accept the absolute reality that I myself am just as infinite, boundless, and richly supplied as the sprawling universe that surrounds me. I deeply, fundamentally know and recognize that I was originally formed and created as an entity constructed out of pure, radiant affection, deep and abiding hope, boundless generosity, and ultimate, undeniable goodness. I firmly know that I act as a direct, living mirror and reflection of the sacred and the divine. There is absolutely no fragment or shadow within my being that is unworthy or undeserving of receiving wonderful, magnificent, and highly positive things. I remain entirely open, eager, and highly receptive to accepting profound wealth through a wide array of different strategies, methods, and pathways. In previous times, I was heavily instructed and conditioned to believe that there was only a single, isolated, and highly difficult route to acquiring cash and wealth during my time on Earth. But I now clearly, vividly recognize that there are practically infinite, multiple pathways leading straight to total wealth and sweeping abundance. I am more than happy and entirely willing to walk down several different, overlapping roads in order to multiply and systematically increase the exact amount of money physically present in my current reality. I am the solitary, sovereign individual who holds the ultimate power to direct and control the thoughts occurring inside my own brain right at this exact given moment. I hold the absolute, unquestioned power to consciously select a completely different trajectory and experience than the one I am presently navigating in my current life. Even though adopting a completely new paradigm of thinking might initially feel a bit foreign, strange, or unusual, I absolutely possess the inherent birthright entitlement to confidently do exactly that. The larger the amount of value and resources I generously give and offer to the world, the larger the amount of wealth I inevitably and organically pull back in to receive. And the larger the massive amount I happily receive, the larger the amount I am highly capable of generously handing out to others. I deeply, fundamentally comprehend that the grand scale of reality always mathematically evens out and finds a perfect equilibrium. And because of this core truth, I am totally, unconditionally determined to confidently broadcast pure goodness and positivity out into the surrounding environment. By intentionally operating in that specific, highly conscious manner, I guarantee that ultimate goodness will inevitably, predictably, cycle right back into my own private world and life. Simply because I bravely and openly project a strong, undeniable message and signal of giving out into the ether, it definitively does not mean or imply that I am going to be receiving a harsh message demanding that I must sacrifice or give away even more of myself to my own detriment. That is absolutely, definitively not how the grand machinery of this universe operates. When I freely and generously give to others, I am beautifully and continuously rewarded in return. And then I subsequently possess an even greater multitude of reasons to continue projecting outward generosity. It functions as an incredibly gorgeous, highly tranquil, and utterly peaceful cycle that positively elevates and works with every single person occupying this entire planet. Existence and daily life are absolutely overflowing with plenty, and I remain completely protected, completely sheltered, and utterly safe. I deliberately and actively choose to view this globe as a totally safe, highly advantageous, and profoundly beneficial environment in which to reside. Other individuals wandering this earth are perfectly free and more than welcome to perceive this planet as a dark, dangerous place entirely consumed by terror, fear, and deep scarcity. I, however, deliberately, consciously, and simply opt to navigate my days living strictly according to my own personal, highly positive convictions and beliefs. If I consciously and firmly decide to center my entire living experience and mental focus around concepts of grand abundance, deep happiness, absolute peace, bright cheerfulness, and profound love, then I will inevitably, organically draw a significantly larger volume of those exact elements directly into my own waking reality. I genuinely feel incredibly rich, deeply wealthy, and highly prosperous down to my very bones. I absolutely adore cash, and cash absolutely adores me in return. Right at this very second, I am actively, aggressively pulling and attracting funds directly toward myself like a high-powered magnet. I feel immensely joyful, highly pleased, and deeply appreciative of the absolute fact that cash flows toward me in continuously expanding, ever-increasing quantities, originating from a vast multitude of different sources, on a completely relentless, unbroken, and continual basis. I am currently in the active, conscious process of receiving and accepting new money right now. I currently possess a financial reserve that is far, far greater than what is strictly required to survive. I have more than enough money. I am fully willing, highly prepared, completely ready, and entirely able to safely receive even more money. Everywhere I happen to cast my gaze, I bear witness to absolute, undeniable abundance surrounding me. I operate as a literal, walking, and highly magnetic force for physical money. I am deeply, profoundly grateful for the valuable assets and resources I already hold securely in my hands, as well as for the future resources that I will absolutely receive. And I clearly recognize that I currently possess all that I truly need. Money is currently arriving at my doorstep and entering my life from completely surprising, unforeseen, and unexpected sources, and I am intensely, deeply thankful for this ongoing phenomenon. My personal stream of income is steadily and aggressively climbing to increasingly elevated, higher and higher peaks. I proudly exist as a rich, deeply cherished child of an incredibly loving and affectionate universe, and I wield the absolute, undeniable power to continuously attract money. I receive new funds and financial resources happily and with total joy right now. Cash streams directly to me with total ease, absolute smoothness, and zero friction. I behave in a highly rational, completely sensible manner regarding my finances, and I actively, intelligently manage it with great wisdom. I eagerly and confidently allow my personal income to constantly stretch, expand, and heavily multiply without interruption. I perpetually and comfortably reside in a sustained, beautiful state of absolute physical comfort and deep inner joy. I clearly and objectively realize that having abundant money is an essential, highly necessary component for me to lead a wonderfully good life, but I consciously, purposefully choose not to make it the absolute number one, dominating priority of my existence. The surrounding universe acts as my unfailing, non-stop, and entirely constant supply of financial resources. I am always perfectly, flawlessly equipped with an adequate and overflowing amount of money to seamlessly fulfill all of my personal needs, regardless of what specific activities, tasks, or projects I happen to perform. The total numerical value held securely within my banking balance is aggressively increasing with every passing day, and I always, without fail, maintain enough money perfectly reserved for myself. Money and I successfully operate as incredibly close, intimately bonded friends. Our strong, unbreakable friendship and solid alliance will remain completely intact and will absolutely never fall apart or shatter. I proudly function as an incredibly potent, high-level money magnet, a deeply attractive entity towards whom money is constantly, relentlessly pulled without pause. With the dawn of every single day, I am actively drawing in, securely saving, and accumulating more and more physical money. Wealth and financial liquidity represent an integral, deeply foundational part of life, and it is absolutely never energetically or physically away from me. I live completely, beautifully debt-free because vast sums of money are constantly, aggressively flowing straight into my life. My deeply cultivated personal money consciousness is perpetually expanding and always increasing, firmly keeping me safely surrounded by thick layers of money. My entire mental and physical focus is securely, obsessively locked onto the ultimate goal of becoming massively rich. The act of successfully attracting money is incredibly simple, highly natural, and wonderfully easy for me. My personal bank account's total net worth is always, perpetually growing in a beautiful upward trajectory. Money is a profoundly positive, inherently good tool. Money operates as pure, unadulterated, and flexible energy. I am completely, fully supported in making vast amounts of money simply by dedicating myself to doing exactly what I deeply love to do. Money consistently comes to me navigating through expected, highly reliable channels, as well as through exciting, totally unexpected channels. My personal flow of income automatically, mechanically, and reliably rises to higher and higher levels without requiring any agonizing effort. I remain entirely open, unguarded, and deeply receptive to the absolute best and most luxurious things in life. My physical wallet is practically bursting at the seams, violently overflowing with heavy stacks of money. Navigating through the events of my life is incredibly, remarkably easy. I warmly and excitedly welcome vast amounts of money into my life. I stand completely open, entirely prepared, and fully ready to confidently let money flow directly into my life. Money is a permanent, reliable fixture in my life, and its constant presence feels just as natural, normal, and deeply foundational to me as the daily bodily functions of eating food, drinking water, and safely sleeping. All of my physical pockets are heavily, securely full of money. My highly positive, carefully cultivated mental money thoughts are currently rapidly coming perfectly true. The grand, overarching universe always and faithfully serves my absolute highest, most beneficial interests, and I always successfully get whatever I happen to need financially without fail. Absolute ultimate success is fully mine. I confidently and boldly accept it right now. I absolutely love and deeply cherish the sensational feeling of having money. There is a massively huge, highly abundant supply of resources on this planet, leaving more than enough for absolutely everyone. There is, mathematically and literally, more money currently circulating in the physical world than there ever has been in recorded history, and there is definitively enough money to generously go around. I effortlessly, magnetically draw in and attract my true, undeniable self-worth. I am continuously, relentlessly becoming more and evolving into a higher state. I pull in and attract money naturally, organically, and completely without strain. The more deeply and heavily I contribute valuable things for others, the more money I will inevitably and predictably make. The more deeply and passionately I enjoy my own life, the more immense money I will naturally make. The massive, sprawling universe constantly and reliably supplies fresh money directly to me. I always, without any exception, have enough money firmly in hand to seamlessly fulfill my deepest needs. Money and I are trusted friends, and money is heavily flowing straight to my location. Money streams and flows easily, beautifully, and safely into my life. I aggressively attract money, and simultaneously, I am highly, magnetically attracted to money. I simply love money. I genuinely and purely enjoy the process of making money, and I actively strive to have deep fun and playfulness in every single aspect of my professional work. Whatever varied activities I choose to perform, money reliably flows to me easily, frequently, and with massive, staggering abundance. I proudly wield the absolute, undeniable power to attract massive amounts of money. I actively place absolutely no limits, boundaries or restrictions on the ultimate amount of money I can successfully make. I attract large sums of money entirely naturally. My personal, secure bank account is completely, heavily filled to the top with money. I possess an entirely endless, bottomless, and highly secure supply of physical cash. I easily attract money everywhere I happen to physically go across the globe. Today strictly marks the highly anticipated day of my amazing, spectacular, and undeniable good fortune. I happily and joyfully watch as I successfully see every single outstanding bill fully paid right now. I joyfully, with a light heart, see every single financial obligation fully met and successfully handled right now. I proudly exist as the very embodiment of boundless, limitless abundance, constantly shining in bright, radiant expression. I entirely and warmly accept all the deep joy and immense prosperity that this rich life has to graciously offer. High-level financial success actively comes to me easily, smoothly, and incredibly effortlessly. My heavy, compounding income vastly and permanently exceeds my daily expenses. My deeply grateful, heavily appreciative heart operates as a highly charged magnet that constantly attracts significantly more of absolutely everything that I deeply desire. I am a certified money magnet, and profound prosperity of absolutely all kinds is relentlessly, heavily drawn to me. Money predictably flows to me from expected, heavily relied upon sources, as well as completely unexpected, hidden sources. Today is an absolutely delightful, immensely wonderful, and highly pleasant day. I am totally, completely fearless and brave in successfully letting money go out and circulate into the world. I actively spend my money operating strictly under direct, pure inspiration, functioning wisely, intelligently, and totally fearlessly. My personal, heavy financial supply is entirely endless and immediately, seamlessly replenished. My primary bank account is heavily, violently overflowing with massive stacks of money. A giant, totally unstoppable avalanche of pure money is currently rushing violently and beautifully my exact way. I am completely, blissfully, and happily enjoying a daily lifestyle defined perfectly by high-end, supreme luxury. I now proudly and safely live within a spectacularly rich, profoundly deep, and entirely loving universe. This is undeniably a rich, highly abundant universe, and there is undoubtedly plenty of resources strategically available for all of us. I am strictly, actively right now, successfully accumulating wildly large, heavy sums of money. Money streams and aggressively flows straight into my life. I always reliably have significantly more money rapidly coming in than heavily going out, and I am increasingly, powerfully transforming into a higher level money magnet. I physically create and manifest money directly through pure joy, radiant aliveness, and intense, unadulterated self-love. And because I directly, passionately do exactly what I love, money naturally flows freely and beautifully right to my hands. Money actively comes to me smoothly, easily, and totally effortlessly. My personal secured savings actually act as a highly charged, dense magnet specifically designed to efficiently draw even more money into my vault. All of the circulating money I consciously spend actively enriches and dramatically improves society, and it magically, reliably comes circling right back to me heavily multiplied. All the heavy money I intelligently spend, as well as the money I rapidly earn, consistently brings me deep, lasting joy. My stored money is essentially pure kinetic energy, eagerly, patiently awaiting my direct, specific command to aggressively create highly beneficial good in my life. All my vast, heavy money is constantly working behind the scenes for me to permanently increase my massive abundance, deep inner joy, and radiant, vibrating aliveness. Money constantly streams and flows freely, smoothly, and highly abundantly throughout my entire daily life. A steady, totally constant flow of new money is rapidly coming to my location from thoroughly known and totally unknown surprise sources. I deeply feel genuinely good and highly positive about money, and I firmly believe I highly deserve it fully integrated in my life. I am incredibly, profoundly thankful for the deep, luxurious comfort and profound, soothing joy that this money reliably provides me. I purposefully, cleanly release all my dark, negative, limiting beliefs previously held about money, and I warmly, openly invite ultimate wealth to enter my life. Money swiftly comes to me easily and completely effortlessly. The active process of making money is fundamentally good for me and incredibly beneficial for absolutely everyone involved in my life. My personal, stored money is rapidly growing higher and higher at this very moment. Right now, money remains a highly important, integral part of my life, and it's never physically or energetically away from me. I easily, clearly see exciting new opportunities to totally effortlessly make vast sums of money. I clearly, without a doubt, see unique opportunities to seamlessly and effortlessly build money. Money absolutely always manages to strictly flow to me easily. I operate as a powerful, undeniable magnet, permanently attached to money, and simultaneously, it acts as an aggressive magnet pulled tightly to me. Money flows completely freely, without any resistance, right into my beautiful life. All the precise money I could ever possibly need is rapidly flowing directly to me. All the vast, heavy money I could ever possibly desire or want is relentlessly flowing to me right now. I totally, absolutely always have more than enough money. I safely, securely possess all the money, the ample time, the high-level talent, and the burning energy necessary to successfully accomplish absolutely all that I deeply desire. Money is consistently, reliably coming to my door every single day. Money right now successfully comes to me in heavy, staggering abundance, arriving in totally perfect, flawless ways. The more thick money I heavily have, the more highly impactful money I can deploy and use to significantly help myself and deeply assist others. The more massive money I currently have, the more free money I successfully have available to generously give away. Money is actively, perfectly always circulating freely and openly in my daily life, and there is absolutely, undeniably always a massive, heavy surplus remaining. Money violently, beautifully flows to me exactly like a towering, rushing waterfall. I deeply, fully welcome absolutely all spectacular, high-end things that cold, hard money can seamlessly buy. All my outstanding bills are effortlessly paid for with wonderful, totally relaxing ease. I am intensely, deeply passionate about the strategic process of rapidly building wealth. I humbly, deeply give sincere thanks that I am absolutely right now highly rich, extremely wealthy, and profoundly happy. I actively possess the absolute, undeniable power to massively attract wealth. I confidently receive money and grand wealth in completely unique, highly unusual ways. All remaining internal, hidden resistance lingering in me, preventing me from being able to fully receive more staggering wealth, has entirely, permanently dissolved in total, peaceful grace. Grand wealth and vast money actively come directly to me smoothly, easily, and completely effortlessly. I purposefully, skillfully create vast money, deep wealth, profound joy, and lasting happiness securely in my everyday life. I am rapidly, aggressively becoming more and heavily more of a dense, highly charged magnet, pulling heavily towards pure money and total wealth. All the specific, precise money I ultimately need is already stationed, securely waiting to easily reach me. Money is purely kinetic energy, and it seamlessly, beautifully flows freely directly through me right now. All my previous mental and energetic blockages designed to prevent me from being able to receive money have absolutely now permanently dissolved into nothing. Absolutely everything I could possibly need to efficiently generate massive wealth is fully, securely available to me right at this exact moment. I am incredibly, completely wealthy right now at this specific second. I am intensely, highly driven, and thoroughly motivated to achieve massive success. I am fully, completely dedicated and firmly committed to aggressively growing my vast personal wealth. I am walking firmly, securely, right on the direct path, heavily leading to total abundance. I entirely possess the deep, inner ability to easily make staggeringly large amounts of physical money. I am fundamentally already a deeply rich individual. My entire focused mind is strictly, obsessively locked on to successfully achieving truly great, monumental wealth. I possess an entirely shatterproof, unbreakable level of high confidence strictly in myself. I'm officially, firmly starting to completely effortlessly attract massive amounts of money. My deep, profound belief securely held in myself is rapidly growing stronger, much heavier, and completely unbreakable. I will absolutely, undeniably succeed and achieve massive victory at absolutely all costs. I will definitely, permanently become highly rich and wildly successful, absolutely no matter what specific obstacles appear. I am intensely, fiercely, and obsessively focused strictly on generating and making vast. I am actively, permanently, always transforming and rapidly evolving into a superior individual who totally effortlessly builds monumental wealth. I confidently carry the unmistakable mental attitude and the commanding presence of an incredibly rich and wildly successful human being. I organically and instinctively draw vast amounts of cash directly toward my physical location without a second thought. The continuous process of generating substantial revenue is incredibly simple, entirely straightforward, and delightfully uncomplicated for me. Experiencing massive, sweeping prosperity and high-level victory is simply a standard, entirely normal, an expected occurrence in the grand tapestry of my daily life. When other people gaze in my direction, they immediately and instinctively recognize me as a unique individual who just naturally and effortlessly pulls wealth straight into their personal orbit. I genuinely, deeply, and passionately take immense pleasure in the active, dynamic process of making money. Experiencing absolute financial plenty and overflowing. Unrestricted abundance is just a regular foundational component of my everyday waking reality. I harbor a profound, completely unshakable internal belief that I am a highly victorious, enormously successful, and completely unstoppable human being. I maintain a staggering, incredibly massive level of pure confidence in my own self, as well as in my absolute, unquestionable ability to generate huge, life-changing sums of money. I completely, utterly, and genuinely deserve to step into a reality defined entirely by vast riches and opulent wealth. I proudly function as a highly powerful, inescapable attractor for cash, and absolutely all beautiful forms of prosperity are naturally, magnetically pulled in my exact direction. Financial resources and physical currency reliably find their way right to my doorstep through pathways that I fully anticipate and plan for, as well as through incredibly exciting avenues that catch me completely by a beautiful surprise. I am actively, consciously, and permanently transitioning my entire mindset away from a dark mentality of poverty and lack, stepping firmly and resolutely into a bright consciousness perfectly defined by absolute, overflowing abundance. I truly, unquestionably, and undeniably merit the ability to generate an ever-increasing, snowballing amount of wealth during my time on this earth. I remain entirely open, happily unguarded, and highly willing to fully receive all of the spectacular financial blessings that this vast existence actively chooses to present to me. I eagerly, joyfully, and with open arms adopt fresh, innovative methods and brilliant new avenues for generating personal revenue. I gladly and enthusiastically invite an absolutely boundless, infinite and roaring stream of daily income and profound riches to take up permanent residence in my daily reality, and I consciously, forcefully let go of any dark, restrictive, or negative energy that was previously associated with cash. Funds continuously flow into my personal possession with ultimate smoothness, total ease, and practically zero friction or resistance. I intentionally and thoughtfully utilize this abundant wealth to drastically elevate the quality of my own daily existence, while simultaneously improving, uplifting, and enriching the lives of the people who safely surround me. True, undeniable prosperity is consistently and reliably pouring directly into my everyday world without a single moment of pause. Every single purposeful action I undertake and every firm decision I make naturally results in a continuous, steady stream of financial victory and lasting prosperity. I am perfectly, flawlessly, and harmoniously synchronized with the vibrating energy frequency of total, absolute abundance. I am perpetually, continuously, and aggressively drawing in fresh chances, new opportunities, and entirely unique situations that are specifically designed to generate even more cash securely on my behalf. My personal financial landscape is upgrading and improving in spectacular, mind-bending ways that completely exceed my wildest, most ambitious dreams. Cash serves as a foundational, deeply rooted source for profound joy and wonderful, deeply soothing physical comfort. Absolute financial wealth and a deep grounded spiritual connection can absolutely exist side by side in perfect, tranquil, and entirely beautiful harmony. Finances and deep personal affection can actually successfully operate as close, mutually supportive allies and friendly companions. Money actively acts purely as my dedicated, loyal, and tireless servant, and I firmly remain the ultimate, supreme, and unquestioned master over my own personal fortune. I securely possess the complete mental, emotional, and practical capacity to safely handle massive, staggering sums of money, and I feel totally tranquil, secure, and at profound peace with confidently holding on to so much of it. I can easily, comfortably, and beautifully navigate enormous levels of victory and high-scale success with absolute elegance and undeniable grace. Having abundant, overflowing funds actively widens the scope of my daily horizons, massively expanding the dynamic opportunities and rich, vivid experiences I get to enjoy during my lifetime. Cash consistently produces highly beneficial, overwhelmingly positive impacts across my entire existence, and I truly, deeply deserve to completely live a lifestyle perfectly defined by pure wealth. Financial resources reliably and consistently reach my hands through practically miraculous, awe-inspiring, and seemingly magical events that defy logic. This entire physical world is abundantly and spectacularly overflowing with an endless, staggering supply of absolutely everything you could possibly imagine or ever desire. True, foundational limitation and scarcity simply do not exist anywhere in the grand architecture of reality. If I ever happen to momentarily notice a fleeting feeling of shortage or lack in my daily world, I absolutely hold the total, sovereign freedom to completely alter that perception. Beginning this exact second, I securely possess the total, undeniable liberty to completely overwrite my outdated, restrictive mental programming regarding finances, successfully swapping it out entirely for fresh, substantially healthier, and wildly supportive beliefs. Wealth actively exists quite literally in every single corner, thriving city, and remote environment across this vast globe. The specific sum of cash I personally possess is absolutely not a direct, linear reflection of the amount of grueling, back-breaking labor I must physically endure. Funds can easily, rapidly, and frequently materialize straight from my primary career and job, directly from my various calculated investments, from generous, unexpected gifts given directly to me, and from basically any other direction or origin conceivable. I absolutely and fundamentally do not have to grind or toil for extended, exhausting hours just to successfully acquire a substantially larger amount of wealth. I am completely, entirely willing to drastically alter my internal, foundational perspective regarding exactly how I take in and receive money. And that profound mental shift officially commences right now, without delay. I absolutely, and without a shred of doubt, deserve to experience a life heavily and thoroughly saturated with pure abundance. I am a fundamental, intimately interconnected piece of this vast cosmos, and I am entirely open to trusting and fully believing that this grand universe is completely limitless, expansive, and constantly overflowing with boundless resources. I am fully prepared and completely, wholeheartedly willing to accept the absolute reality that I myself am just as infinite, completely boundless, and richly supplied as the sprawling universe that beautifully surrounds me. I deeply, fundamentally know and recognize that I was originally formed and purposefully created as an entity constructed out of pure, radiant affection, deep and abiding hope, boundless charity, and ultimate, undeniable goodness. I firmly know and proudly declare that I act as a direct, living mirror, an accurate reflection of the sacred and the divine. There is absolutely no fragment, shadow, or hidden corner within my being that is unworthy or undeserving of receiving wonderful, magnificent, and highly positive things. I remain entirely open, entirely eager, and highly receptive to graciously accepting profound wealth through a wide, diverse array of different strategies, methods, and pathways. In previous, outdated times, I was heavily instructed and wrongfully conditioned to believe that there was only a single, isolated, and highly difficult route to safely acquiring cash and wealth during my time on Earth. but I now clearly, vividly recognize that there are practically infinite, beautifully multiple pathways, heavily leading straight to total wealth and sweeping abundance. I am vastly more than happy and entirely, boldly willing to walk down several different overlapping roads in order to strategically multiply and systematically increase the exact amount of money physically present in my current reality. I am the solitary, sovereign, and entirely responsible individual who holds the ultimate power to direct, shape, and control the thoughts occurring inside my own brain right at this exact given moment.